Hi, welcome. Now I am going to show you how to bring semicolon delimited files source data into a pivot table. Okay, so what I have here is the file called semicolon delimited. That file you can see here, month and sales and expenses are there. Okay, I want to bring this file into the I want to bring this file into a Excel worksheet, and from that I am going to create a pivot table. Okay, so what we have here is insert a pivot table. There is an option here to insert, and here we have data to select from the sheet, but you can also use the external data source to select the text files. Okay, unfortunately once you select this text files, this functionality is not working for text files. It can only work for CSV and other database files. Okay, so what we cannot use this functionality for text files and CSV files. Okay, whether it's delimited files or fixed width files. Okay, so what we are going to use is that data. Okay, in get external data. From here we are going to get the data inside first, then we are going to create the pivot table. Okay, so what I am going to do is data. From in the data tab you have a get external data group. From there, from text you use and bring the data file first. So my data file is here. Okay, I have a semicolon delimited file. Okay, so double click that one, then it will show you the text import wizard. In the text import wizard you have the delimited option. Choose the file type delimited. From which row you want to import from? I want to import from the first row. If you want to import from the middle of the file, you can put any row. Okay, my data has headers. Yes, my data has headers. You can see here month, sales, expenses are headers. Then click next, then you take out the tab. You put you don't have options check for semicolon, so you have to check it for semicolon. Okay, once you check it for semicolon, you can see it is the delimiter semicolon become the column separator here. Okay, you can see the column separator line appearing here. Then you can also treat consecutive delimiters as one. If you have a few semicolons put together and you want to treat it as one semicolon, then you can make it as one delimiter. Or if you leave it as it is, then it will become, if 3 semicolons, then it will separate 3 columns. Okay, then next you go to next, then you can also have the column data format. Okay, so this one is the text column, so make it as text. The other columns you leave it as general, because whenever the numeric is there, it will treat as a number. Okay, so go back. You can also see text qualifier here. The text qualifier, if your column value itself is having some semicolon, you don't want to treat as a delimiter, then the text must be enclosed by quotation mark. Okay, so this one point you need to notice here. Okay, for our case we don't have any semicolon in the month's name, but if you have any of column, you have a semicolon, and that semicolon needs to be considered as a text in the column, then you must to enclose that one with the quotation mark. Then next, okay, you treated this one as text, the other two as general, then finish. Okay, you can see import data, but you have only one option, table. Okay, you don't have other options like pivot table, report, and so on, like other databases files. Okay, and where do you want the table to be? On the existing worksheet in the first cell. Okay, so I just put it in the first cell. Add this to data to data model. Okay, this one we are leaving it for the time being, and we are not using any data model. We are using only this data in only one pivot table. Okay, just press OK. so it got the data already. Okay, so this is the source data. So now what you need to do is you need to create a select this table and you do insert the pivot table. Okay, so once you selected it creates the pivot table. Okay, you see, select the option and the selection, then insert pivot table, then you have select the table or range for the pivot table, which is already we selected, so that default value is coming here, the default range. Okay, then what you need to do is choose where you want the pivot table report to be. Okay, I want it in the new worksheet. Okay, fine. Do you want to add to data model? No. Okay, just keep as it is, press OK. So now it created two things here. One is the pivot table area and other one is the pivot table fields selection pan. Okay, you can see all the columns in the text file. It's already appeared in the pan. Okay, month, sales and expenses. Okay, what you can do is from here, whatever you select here, it appeared in the pivot table area. Okay, this is the pivot table report. Okay, sales and the expenses. Okay, so you can change the label as month and this is as sales and sum of expenses. You have the number of the sales values and the expense values. Okay, now what happens now, this is the pivot table. Okay, so now this pivot table actually depends on the source data, this data. Okay, so even though it is from the text file, okay, so but this data, this pivot table depends on this data, not on the text file now. Okay, so if you change this 19 to 190, okay, and what happens, you save this file, this semicolon delimited file is changed, but I come here in the pivot table and I want to refresh this one, refresh. Okay, this is the month of Jan. Okay, so for Jan you see 19, not 190. That means even though you refresh, it takes data only from the table, not from the file. Okay, so how can I update the data here to the pivot table? If the data is changed or the file name is changed for every month, the new file has come, how can I update? Okay, that is in other database files, you just refresh, it will directly connect to the source database, but here for the text files is a two-way process. One is you this pivot table depend on data, so what you need to do, you need to update the data first, then update the pivot table. That means you refresh the data first. How can you refresh the data? You select the data here, or you go to the data, any column, any cell, go there and refresh, right click, refresh. Okay, once you refresh, it will pop up the same thing how you selected for the text file. Okay, you select the text file now, which is the same file in our case, because the file is updated. Or if you have a new file name, you can select, for example, you are receiving for every month, you are receiving new files from new departments, from other departments, then you can select the file names. Okay, so you select, but the format must be the same. Okay, so I select the same file. Now you can see the data is updated in the data. Now you can go to pivot table and refresh. Okay, it is updated. Okay, this is the only way you can refresh the pivot table, depends on the source data. You must first refresh the data, then you refresh the table. If your file name is changed, for example, save as semicolon delimited, now I change as the name of this is a new file from May, for example. Okay, so May file, but I put this one is 19 instead of 2000. Okay, January value is 2000, save. So this is my new file. Then if this month I got this file, then I must go to data, right click, refresh. I have the May file, double click, the 2000 has come here, then go to pivot table, then refresh. We have the 2000. Okay, hope this video is helpful to you to bring data from the semicolon delimited text files and create a pivot table. Okay, you must keep in mind that you cannot refresh directly, you must refresh the data first, then you can refresh the pivot table. Okay, and you also make sure that the insert pivot table option is not working for the text files. Okay, you cannot use insert pivot table, okay, pivot table and external data source. You must go to data, this workaround, data from text. Okay, so hope this video is helpful to you. If you like my video, please subscribe to Alan Sam channel. The channel button is already available on the screen itself, Alan Sam. Please press and subscribe to it, and you leave your comments and suggestions, and God bless you.